One thing about me is that I am a rev head. I like cars. Australia itself was a country of car culture, with the legend that was Holden v Ford. Across time all over the world there have been both incredible machines as well as absolute doozies. But on the way there were some weirder, more bonkers designs littered through automotive history. In this video I'm going to be looking at a few of these weird cars and ask myself, what the fuck were they thinking? And already we're at such a strong start. I need to ask the question why? Like, why? This is called a Layat Helica. I think I'm saying that right. You might have seen this on the Grand Tour. This was a car that was built, I believe, in about 1919. It's French, of course. You may notice the giant propeller at the front of the vehicle. Also, you may not know, this car is made out of plywood, so it don't catch fire. The propeller is used to drive the vehicle instead of a conventional transmission. And this vehicle actually went at speeds of up to 100 miles an hour. Obviously, this thing didn't work out. I mean, why would you want to be in front of a giant propeller coming right at you? This thing was not good. This thing's dangerous, man. Now, this one I've also got a few questions about. You may not have seen this one on Top Gear. Maybe its counterpart. This is the Peel Trident. If you know the Peel P50, you know what this vehicle is. It's kind of like a three-wheel version with a bubble type canopy instead of the usual type design. Also, they apparently say this thing can seat 2 people. I want to see how. One of the motors from this car came from a scooter, a Triumph scooter. I would love to see how a car of this design can work in today's automotive world. This comes from the same country that made the Reliant Robin. Okay, now we're turning to the Americans for a moment, and yes, they had their fair share of weird cars, including this one. This is called the Studebaker Manta Ray, built in 1951. You may think there's a jet engine under there. No, it's a Studebaker V8. Also, it's a 3-seater. I want to know how that actually works. This is also apparently a convertible. This is actually a production car. They made 249 of these. I actually like it. I like the jet engine nose design. I wish they kept making more of these. This is actually quite nice. I like it. Okay, I'm turning to Japan, and honestly, this could be a whole video about all the weird Japanese cars that exist. I'm going to focus on 2, starting with this one. This is called the Toyota Will V. I don't know where that comes from. It was built in 2000 to 2001. Mechanically, there's nothing really wrong with it. It comes with a 4-cylinder engine. I'm just looking at this because the body sucks. There was a time when they were doing this weird neo-retro styling, but looking at this, they not only got it wrong, they got it wrong in so many ways. I just can't see why anyone would buy a vehicle like this. Not even Toyota's own mum would like the look of this car. Who would want this? It's just, they got rid of it so quickly, and good on them for that, because yes, this came from Toyota, but this is one of the times Toyota completely fluffed the ball. Continuing on the weird theme of Japanese cars, this one kind of gets up my goat a little bit. This is called the Subaru Brat. Yes, it actually has a name, Bi-Drive Recreational All-Terrain Transporter, but let's be real, this thing is a brat. In Australia, this was called the Brumby. Yeah, big name for such a small car. Did you know this was even sold in the United States? Like, why would you want to pick up this small in America? This is kind of like a Povo Ute. This is the kind of vehicle you want to buy when you say to your kids, we've got a Ute at home. Like, how much can you actually stuff in the back of that before you realize, oh, this is nowhere near enough for what we actually need? Like, who would buy this sort of vehicle? There are far better Utes out there. Fuck's sake, this should never have been a thing. Okay, we're going to go to Germany for a bit and look at a car that may not necessarily be weird to some, but weird to others. This is the Volkswagen 181, or if you are in America, it's called the Thing. Like, literally, in America, they call this the Volkswagen Thing. This vehicle has a flat 4, kind of more built for like somewhat military safari type stuff, but it was kind of all over the world. It's not that bad of a design when you really, really look at it. It was made between 1968 to 1983. I don't think it's that bad of a car. In fact, I've got one of these in diecast form. Okay, we're continuing on with Germany for a bit, and this one we've also got to ask, what the fuck were you trying to achieve? This kind of looks like a car, unless you actually know what it is. This is both a car and a boat. It's called the Amphicar. It was made between 1960 to 1965 with a straight 4 Triumph motor. I think it was probably on the line of take this out in the water and then take it home straight after. No need for a trailer, it's all in one thing. But let's be real here. From what I've been reading, it required just as much maintenance as that of an actual boat. Possibly even worse. Yeah, it's fun, but when you think of all the headache that comes with it, you've got to ask yourself, is it really worth it at the end of the day? There was a reason this didn't take off. Also, President Lyndon B. Johnson had one of these. I really don't know why. Okay, now we're going to Italy, and with Italy, I have several questions. I have a few questions about this one, though. This is the Covini C6W, built between 2004 to 2016. Carried an Audi V8, had a top speed of 186 miles an hour, but let me tell you something, this car is rear wheel drive. So you got to ask yourself, what the heck were there 2 pairs of front wheels for? Why not one? I don't really understand it. It had quite a run though, considering how long it was made for, but I still look at this and go, this really wasn't all that good, was it? At least not from where I'm sitting anyway. Okay, we're keeping on with Italy for a moment, and this one does kind of look a bit odd. And it was on for this manufacturer as well. This is the Lamborghini LM002. Made between 1986 to 1993. It carried a V12 motor, right? This came from Lamborghini, the company that made sports cars and tractors. They wanted to try out an off-roader to see how well it fared, right? This has kind of got military vibes to it, because I reckon Lamborghini were trying to sell this to the military as well as the average off-roader experience. They did have quite a few orders of these, but considering the manufacturing process involved in this particular car, how complicated it was, they eventually just said, nah, we're walking away from this, and that was a smart move. This vehicle actually offered 2 engines. I believe one of them came out of the Lamborghini Countach, but the other motor, which was more powerful, was actually a marine-type motor found in some powerboats. So that in itself was pretty weird. Alright, I'm going to show you at least one from Australia because, yes, even our country can't necessarily get it right. Not necessarily our fault, though, but have a look at this. You may first look at this and go, oh, that's a Holden Premier. That's one of our best cars. And I'm like, yeah, it may look like a Holden Premier. It's got a rotary motor in it, though. This is the Mazda Road Pacer. It was built by Mazda in Japan, believe it or not, based on the Holden Premier, between 1975 and 1977. Rather than carrying a stonking Holden V8 or a Holden Red 6-cylinder engine, this carried a 13B Wankel rotary motor. What actually happened was, Mazda would get Holden Premiers sent to Japan without transmissions or engines, and Mazda would fit them themselves. It's also the only General Motors car that was ever fitted with a rotary motor. This car did not actually do well in Japan, particularly because it wasn't very fast, it wasn't very roomy, and it also cost way more than that of a Mazda Cosmo. It is quite a collectible car though, especially back in its home in Australia. It also produced less power than a Holden Straight 6, so that's also a problem. Honestly, if it was between this and a Premier, I would actually buy a real Holden Premier, let's be real here. Now, honestly, I don't think it's fair to talk about weird cars without looking at the Eastern Bloc. So this is one that I still find particularly strange. This is the Tatra 603. This one is actually in London, believe it or not. This was made from 1956 to 1962, with a revised version between 62 to 75. Built in Czechoslovakia, this was primarily used by high-ranking communist officials as well as heads of manufacturing. I look at the light design and I find it particularly strange, right? But believe it or not, despite this thing being used as a high-ranking party car, this vehicle was also used in racing. This car competed in the Monte Carlo Rally of 1960, as well as subsequent rallies up to 1967, and took quite a few pole positions at that. I find it strange, you know, this thing, you just imagine this car being driven like by a really high-ranking party official, but then you also see it out in the rally stages. It's just wild. This car is honestly bonkers in my view. Okay, now I'm going to look at an experimental vehicle this time rather than production stuff. But there's a reason why I wanted to show you this, because it is just so bonkers. This is the Jaguar Motor X from the 1950s. Firstly, look at this design. How would this even sell? There are no side doors. It opens from the front. You get in from the front. Not very suitable in a head-on collision. Also, you may be looking at the back and wondering, oh, is that space to carry all your stuff? Nope, that's just where the engine sits. Like, I don't understand how a design like this would even work, and who would have even thought this would have even been a good idea in the first place. Not surprisingly, it never went into production, and you can absolutely see why. Okay, I think it's fair that because we started with French, we end with French. This one is what I call weird but cool. This is the Citroën Fourgonette. It's actually based off of the Berlingo. But you may notice the design actually harks back to a vehicle that Citroën made well in the past. This design is actually based off of the 2CV, which was, you know, the snail car. Or the snail car, but with a van on the back. You can actually buy this car. Right now, you can actually buy this vehicle. You could also buy its bigger version, the Type HG, based on the Citroën H-Van. Also, apparently this comes in electric, so you can actually get your own retro-inspired electric van. That is wild. And yes, I will have to admit, I really like this design. I want one of these. It's just so cool. Oh, hi kids, this is Postscript Scarnon. I just found a car on the net that I had to include in this video that wasn't originally on my list, but since I was looking back at stuff, I had to add it. This is the Citroën Ami. Oh, sorry, this is the Citroën Ami with a body kit. This isn't actually how it looks. This is how it looks after you put the body kit on it, right? Look at that! 15,000 euros. This is a 2-seater battery electric car, but it looks retro. This thing looks so fucking useless. And yeah, I'd own one. I'd drive one just for the sake that it looks cool. What in the world were they thinking first when they built this car, and then what in the world were the guys thinking when they put a body kit on it? I don't know. But it's fucking cool anyway. I honestly could go on and on and on about weird cars, especially the concept ones over the production ones. But this video would go way too long in that regard. So you can have this little taste of what I've discovered on the net. If you've enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like. And if you want to see more, why not dump us a sub? Because it is free and it supports the channel as a whole. If you made it this far, thank you for watching. I'll see you next time.